It looks like my system's been back up here again. Yeah, my little assistant there, we have a house, our house has a raised foundation, and we had a kitty cat at one point had gone under our house and had babies. And I had to go crawl up underneath my house, and what I thought was like one or two kittens at first ended up being about 5. And I don't know if this individual cat had ever had babies before, but only 2 of them survived, and which is unfortunate, but they at the time I didn't know that there were any more under there than what there was, and so it's like the first day I heard them, and I went down and up and under the edge of the opening in my floorboard and saw that I could get to them fairly easy. And I don't know whatever happened to the mama cat. I don't know if she abandoned them, or she ran off and got ran over, or got picked up by animal control or whatever, but we never saw her again. And a little bit, you gotta stay over there. And let me, I gotta take care of it. Yeah, there you go. Play with that one there. Anyway, as I was saying, we don't know what happened to the mama cat, and she had the kittens before she disappeared, and she had the kittens like practically in the center of my house, and the 2 had crawled up close to the edge of the opening where my floorboard was. That's how I was excuse me, that's how I was able to hear them. And that's when I discovered they were there. But the others were still back up in the middle of the house, and at the time I wasn't aware of it. Alright, where's your paper at, little helper? Here. Here, get your back. Get it. There you go. Get your paper. And anyway, as I was saying, I had to go in. I heard them meowing the second day, and this was back in it was still in the winter time, and out here in North Texas we don't have a lot of what you'd say bad severe weather, but the temperatures do go down below freezing. My little assistant fell off the bed here. By the way, if you see the camera shaking, it's not an earthquake. It's my little assistant playing with a piece of paper that I gave him. He seemingly plays with anything and everything. But yeah, it was back in the winter time, and the temperatures was still cold, and we didn't know that there was more kittens under the house, and the next day I could hear them faintly, and when I crawled back down up under the house I could hear them more clearly, and that's when I realized I had 3 more. Turn this around this way. But unfortunately, as I said, they didn't make it. They lasted for about a week or two, and had I known they were there at the time that I rescued the first 2, I could have rescued them and they might have survived, but then again they might not have, because with cats you don't know if they've had their, usually when cats have a first litter they don't, none of their kittens survive. Some of them do, some don't, but it was unfortunate, but that's just one of the things that happens. And I was thinking that the mama cat was a stray cat, and it ended up being it was a kitty cat that the owners lived just down the road from me. And so when we got the 2 where we were weaning them, or well, we basically raised them on our own. Like I said, I think the mama cat had just had the kittens like probably a day or 2 before I found them, and with it being in the winter time, they couldn't survive. But as you can see, he's doing pretty good. Right now, he's a little menace is what he is. So, but anyway, back to my painting. I think I'm going to have to get me some more turpenoid because I'm running out. And I haven't even, I'm just barely getting finished with the sepia color. I haven't even gotten to the black as of yet. And I'm thinking my little assistant might be getting a little bit hungry. So I may have to go in and feed him. Alright, so I'm going to stop this for now and get a little bit more turpenoid for my jar and do something with this crazy cat of mine. My little assistant. He's showing me which colors I need to use on my color chart. Alright. I am going to take my brush and kind of the area of the painting that has the Van Dyke brown, I'm going to go in and kind of blend that in a little bit more, kind of soften the edges. I found in doing blending for this blending technique that if you go in and you blend the pastel together with the turpenoid and the brush, if you dab your brush on a piece of paper towel first before you start blending with, you can control how much of the solvent you blend with, but also you can, if you go over it and you're like just now you have weird odd looking brush strokes that are kind of like hard edged, you can go in once this dries back a little bit and you can go in and kind of feather it with a dry brush. Once your brush dries back a little bit, you can go in and kind of feather it and soften up the hard edges. And I got my other brush here somewhere I use to wipe off the excess pieces of pastel. Like I said, this black it has a lot of giblets come off. I guess I don't know if giblet's a word or not, but that's what I call them, giblets. Okay. Make sure I'm not zoomed out too far there. Yeah, that's about right. So basically, let me blow off the cat fur. We don't want cat fur in the painting. I'm doing my little assistant. So basically we're going back over now is the area where the black is. And as you can see, I'm using the same technique as the sepia and Van Dyke brown and whatnot, but you can see that it reacts a little differently to the solvent, the terpenoid. So one has to be really careful with the amount of terpenoid that you put on your brush. You want to kind of basically what I'm doing is dry brushing, if you will. This is a dry brush technique. But as I said, in time, once you do a few paintings, you will start to get a feel for how they work and how they blend together with. So, one other note I want to make mention of is make sure that your hands are very clean when handling your paper, your painting. If I inadvertently grab a hold of the paper over here, and especially if the solvent is still wet a little, it'll transfer over onto your hands, and then you will have, when you go to grab your piece and move it around, you'll get fingerprints all over areas that you don't want it to be. So make sure you watch that. Okay. As I mentioned before about this being kind of like a dry brush technique, sometimes whenever I'm blending, I usually use a swirling motion with it. Let me move my card short over here somewhere, because my little assistant is mistaken that with his piece of paper that I've given him. As I mentioned, making a kind of a little bit of a twisting motion as you blend. That kind of will kind of yield a little bit more even brush stroke.